Hey team, so I'm back with a live video. I'm a little early, a little bit before 8 o'clock, but I wanted to jump on the live video and talk to you guys a little bit about some things that I have been reading and thinking about that I think are really relevant. So I've been reading this book. It's called The Beck Diet Solution, and it's basically all about what I want to go back to school for, which is cognitive behavioral therapy and things like that. I've noticed, sorry guys, this ends up driving me crazy. I'm in my uniform, my Facebook Live uniform of my Northington Fitness and Nutrition hoodie. So I've been reading about this and I feel like there's some things in the book that really hit home for me and it's very true and I wanted to share them with you guys. So in the book, it was talking about self-sabotaging behavior, and I think that a lot of our self-sabotage, we might in our minds only relate the thoughts that have to do with maybe negative thinking toward ourselves. I know that that's a big part of what I think. I'll kind of think, I'll never get to my goal anyways. Who cares? I'm just gonna do whatever I want. I'm gonna fall off the wagon. It doesn't matter, kind of thing. And they did touch that in the Beck Diet Solution book. But they also were talking about some other thoughts, because before you go off plan or before you indulge in something that maybe isn't on your plan, if your goal is weight loss and you're passionate about that goal, you have like an internal dialogue with yourself. And there's the moment where you can strengthen your resistance and your ability to be able to stay on task, or you can kind of strengthen like your giving into temptation sort of muscle, if you will. So with the inner dialogue, a lot of things that they were saying that people might want to be prepared to address is a few things like rationalization. I can have this right now. It's a special occasion. I should treat myself. This won't really matter. It's just one little thing. Those kind of thoughts are also self-sabotaging thoughts that can kind of talk you into going off course and ultimately not seeing the results that you want. Or other thoughts like, I'm really hungry right now. I'm starving. These cravings are too strong. I'm too hungry. These kinds of things. And it was going through sort of what true hunger should feel like and what just wanting to eat and, cravings will feel like. It'll be more in your mouth, like that craving that you want something in your throat, and true hunger is an aching pain kind of in your stomach. So it touched on the fact that a lot of people who have trouble with their weight loss diets have trouble with these thoughts and have trouble kind of shutting them down and just moving on from it. You'll notice that when you do give in to some of these thoughts and you reach for that food, your stress goes down because like you've made a decision, your stress goes down. But your stress can go down before you even have the food, basically because you made the decision. So if you think about that, then it would also work if you made the decision to just pass. But it's the dwelling on it, the thinking about food all the time, the playing these things in your head over and over. It can be extremely stressful and exhausting. And this is why, guys, we tell you to make a meal menu, because when you're in a weight loss, fat loss situation, it's stressful because you're changing your habits, you're getting a new routine down, you're going for a goal. You don't want to add any other stress on top of that. So if you also have the stress of thinking about your meal before it comes, every single meal and every single snack, versus planning it out, that stress can really weigh on you. So if you guys have some of these thoughts, this is what I suggest you to do, and this is what I did. And I do, sometimes some of the ideas that I might give you guys might seem a little cheesy. Another thing they touched on is like some people will get a program and they'll do part of it. They'll be like, well, for it to work, I don't really need to do this thing. I don't need to journal my food. I'll just remember it. I don't need to plan my day in advance. I'll just do it as I go. And then those are self-sabotaging thoughts too, because the way the program works they were giving the example in this book, but even our program, the way it works is following all of these steps. When we give you guys steps, it's because these are the most likely things to succeed. I had somebody mention to me that they hadn't lost weight in the last challenge, but they hadn't checked in for, I don't even think one check-in, or carried out any of the things to do, any of the tasks to do to be successful. So you're not going to see results. It's kind of like when you have a coach or when you're working on something, you have like a teacher in a classroom, and they guide you and they give you kind of the outline, and they give you the important points, and they give you the bulleted points, and then it's your job to carry out the tasks, do the homework, and then you will be successful on the test. It's kind of the same thing when you do online coaching or coaching. I wish that I could do the things for everyone. That would be amazing. I would love that, actually, because it pains me. You know, I want everyone to be successful. But what happens is I can only be your guide, and then all of the behavior changes, the planning ahead, the making your meals, and kind of setting up your new schedule all falls on you. And then we work together to try and find the absolute best way for your lifestyle, what fits you and what macros and how you'd like to eat. And then we'll figure out how to get you consistent. And once you get consistent, it turns into a habit. And once you start getting those results, it's so much easier to stay on task because you're excited with how you feel, you're excited how you look, you get that momentum. Momentum is everything. So today, here's my challenge for today, guys. And I want you to go through the day and pay attention to your thoughts. Pay attention to your thoughts, maybe like before you eat something. Pay attention to your thoughts, what you have about food. Think about if you do fall off plan, think about the chain of things that happened that caused you to fall off plan. What was your internal dialogue? Because we all are going to have an internal dialogue before something falls off plan. You will always have it. You just have to pay attention to it. Some people who don't have issues around food, I'm not one of those people. I've told you guys some of the issues that I have around food. You will have an internal dialogue about these things. And for, hey babe, and for some of us who are exhausted about thinking about food, I'll hear that from people. I'm tired of thinking about food all day. That's more of a characteristic trait, personal characteristic trait. And to break out of that habit, we need to figure out what the internal dialogue is, what we're thinking about, and then we have to be prepared for how we're going to approach that situation. And pretty soon it'll be a lot more automatic, and it won't weigh on you so much because you won't take so much time going back and forth arguing with yourself in your head and having these conversations in your mind over and over. You'll be free. You'll free up your mind to think about other things. So I'm going to give you guys an example. As I was like reading this book, of course I'm having one of these thoughts where I'm like, I wasn't really on plan. I can go downstairs. There's like those 2-ounce Lenny and Larry cookies. They're not that big. I could just have an extra cookie. It's not that big of a deal. I'll just have that tonight, and tomorrow I will start over. And I realized, oh my gosh, I do this to myself. Hey Taylor, I do this to myself all the time. I talk myself into it where I'm like, it's not a big deal. I can just start tomorrow. This is just a little bit of food. This is just a little extra. But what happens is all of these things add up, and then it prevents me from reaching the goal that I really want to reach, which is getting back on stage again. So now that I know this about myself, and I realized that when I got all the habits going and I was in the rhythm of competing, it was much easier. I'm going to actively work on these thoughts and work less. Then I'll be working less on just like, I don't understand why I can't stick to it. I guess I just can't anymore. So that's a limiting factor, right? That's a limiting thought, and that's a bad thought to have. You can do it. You can do it. Or we'll rationalize things away like, I'm just getting older. It's my metabolism. I just can't do it. I'm busy. My schedule's hectic. I can't fit in time. Guys, you have to eat. Anyone can lose weight. No matter if it's a stressful life situation, no matter if you have a lot going on at home, no matter if you have a busy schedule, it's all about planning, and you can do it. You can do it. All of those thoughts are self-sabotaging thoughts. So I'm going to leave that with you today, and hopefully you can take it with you throughout the day today and be cognizant of those thoughts and see where you're getting hung up. And then if you're having trouble, message me. I mean, especially if you're my client, message me and we'll talk about some of the internal dialogue that you're having and how we can reroute it to something more helpful. And then they were saying the thoughts that you have that are like, you know what? So last night when I wanted the cookie, or the night before, I was like, I'm not having this cookie. That's it. No more. You don't need it. And your goals are more important. And then I made a little list of why I want to reach my goals and why it's important to me. And I focused on that. And then those were helpful thoughts. So just as much as you can have the self-sabotaging negative thoughts, you can have awesome helpful thoughts that can put you in the right direction. And like with anything, you can train yourself to do that. So it's pretty awesome. You can change your mind about how you're feeling about yourself and how you're thinking. It will take practice, it will take time, but it can happen. So I hope you guys have a good day today, and I hope this was helpful. Sometimes I feel like some of the thought process stuff, I'm like, I hope this isn't just applying to me, but I think that it will be helpful for everyone. I'm hoping. So let me know, and have an awesome day, guys.